Additionally, Fender will be showing their new amps at Winter Namm. Fender has recreated its 57 Deluxe amp into a new production model. The 57 Deluxe is a 12-watt, 12-inch speaker amp, hand-built one by one at Fender's factory in California. Supposedly, the street price on this amp is about $17.99. Kind of pricey. But what do you guys think about the 57 Deluxe?
Yes,
I think it's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Really
this
psyched
was
about it.
this was actually leaked, and we have pictures.
Let's check it out.
This was leaked on the Gear page. Is where I saw it. It was linked on the Gear. Leaked on the Gear page is where I saw it.
Okay.
And this is
sexy tweed.
Form.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the 57 Deluxe is a tweed amp.
Jensen speaker.
Yeah, well,
That's probably very similar to the Twin Reverb reissue.
I really hope that they do the. I really wish they did the Weber one though. The Weber Blue Dog ceramic coils. I think they sound better, but that's just me.
I'm a vintage 30 guy myself.
Yeah,
but I mean, of course, these are just leaked pictures. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to have a Jensen speaker in there.
True.
Well, if they do Jensens, that's better than their normal coils.
Oh, for this price and like a hand built amp, I'm sure they're not going to skimp on the speaker. I'm sure it'll be nice. If it's those Jensens, like similar to the ones in the Twin Reverb.
Did you like the reissue? I know this is kind of off topic, but like this is something that we got to take into account for the 57. Do you like the reissue?
For my money, I'm not going to buy a Twin, or any amp like a Twin, just because I prefer to have some distortion before exploding the room with volume. Volume.
Well, I have a Music Man, so
Nice.
The 212 HD, and the thing is that it's really similar, I think, in theory to the reissue, because it does have, but it has some difference, like solid state preamp section, stuff like that, which is like pretty important because there's not. The gain on the solid state side is not as good as the power amp gain and whatnot. The problem with this is that it has a solid state rectifier, which kind of affects the Twin sound, which is kind of a shame. I wish they would have stuck to it.
I liked it.
And this is why it ties back to this.
Yeah. I think this is definitely going to be more of a... I mean, this is lower wattage. It's going to be a lower wattage amp, it seems. So hopefully it'll break up easier. I'm sure it'll be nice. I'm really happy with what Fender's been doing. The Princeton recording amp, just making quality stuff.
That's real cool.
At semi-affordable prices. I mean, something like every 3 or 4 years, even a hobbyist is gonna buy something bigger, and like Fender is producing those things.
Well,
right?
my issue and this is why I was talking about the Twin reissue is that what are they going to change anything on from the original amp design, which really worries me.
I'm sure they're going to change something.
All they
have an idea. They like to go back and like create very very close replicas, or at least things that do the actual vintage ones justice. But they do embrace newer technology, and like a lot of times, like a lot of the like really nice preamps coming out these days, like recording preamps, use tons of new technology, and I would choose them probably over a lot of the older preamps just because of it's better noise floor, things like that. And similar with amps as well, is better shielding, more efficient power. Your tubes will last longer.
See, for me as a vintage enthusiast, there's certain things that I find that are different. Because I own a Vox AC30 as well, the reissue, the Chinese one. I love it. I do love it. I think it's a great amp, but it's weird because it does have different things and different qualities that don't make it the same as a vintage AC30, such as,
I've
reverb.
I've played the AC30 and the AC15 as well, the reissues, and I've played older amps. I've never played an old Vox amp, but I played I have played a lot of old amps, and for some reason, just the new Vox amps don't really do it for me.
Don't do it for you, and that's a lot of people's, feelings about it. I like it. I think it's a really great, clean country kind of amp. Like if you're going to do jangly, clean stuff, but once you get into the dirty realm, you're going to want a different amp, like a Marshall or something like that,
or a Fender.
Getting back to the 57, from what I've read, the only main difference between the original and the reissue, I mean, for what I've read, is just a polarity switch they turned into a standby switch. But I mean, for me, for what I do, I agree with you, Dan. Like, I'm not looking for something to fill a giant room like the Twin. I like a small amp, small watts that you can use for some clean tone or crank it up, in the studio. And
like crank it up and record it loud.
Yeah, exactly.
But not too loud.
Not too loud.
So loud that you're going to distort your mic.
Exactly. This amp would be perfect for that.
Or you have to put a pad.
You play a lot of blues, right?
Everything, jazz, blues,
Okay.
rock.
All
You
right.
know, I think it would be a very versatile amp for the studio.
Right.
If I had the money, I would definitely pick
Yeah.
one.
Don't you think that would be a good small club blues amp though too?
Yeah, absolutely. You could gig with that. I mean, a lot of people look at 12 watts and go, Psh.
I don't know if you need it, but does it have an effects loop?
Yeah, I don't think it has an effects loop. I think it's pretty, true to the original.
Doesn't look like it does from the
Yeah,
picture.
actually, from the picture on the back, the rear picture that I was looking at, it looks like it has 2 inputs, and possibly a switch for like a bright switch or something like that. Because I see 2 switches.
It's
But
pretty sexy.
that may be a standby. I'm not sure. Not
Yeah.
totally sure.
Sexy.
You know, one thing you can barely see from the picture, but this amp actually does, the volume actually does go up to 11. You can kind of see it.
No way.
With that,
But yeah,
Sold. I'm buying it.
That's the Spinal Tap edition. It's very limited. All right.
right.
well, we were talking earlier about lower wattage amps in the studio. There was some talk on the Fender forum. It was actually a thread that was about the 57 Deluxe, but ended up there was a leak at some point. I'm not sure exactly from who, but there's talk of a Champ reissue. The little
Like the
tiny little like practice amp,
the 5 water like.
something like
Do you
that.
think they're going to go back to like the Champ like Tweed Champ or
Yeah,
like the
that's what I'm thinking.
or are they going to do like the silver face, which is like
No, I think the Tweed Champ for sure. Just because, based on the 57,
Yeah.
it's not a silver face, and I'm thinking they're going to release them together. I also think that after I read that, I was thinking that this is probably an answer to the Epiphone Valve Jr.
Also,
which has gotten tons and tons of.
there's also the 5-watt
wonderful.
Tiny Terror for the more pricey, higher end recording users. For
Yeah, but
Orange.
Actually, it said on the forum, I think, that it was going to be below $300.
Oh my lord,
Which is more than the Valve Jr., which we
Wow.
have sitting over there. That's why I'm pointing
dude,
over there.
that's super exciting. Though.
Yeah, and
That's awesome.
like it's the whole thing. The Valve Jr. was huge for like people who are just getting into tubes. You can buy it and then just switch out the tubes, and you got an amazing tone. Of course, I have one, but I have the head version, which is actually better just because there's a DC power supply for the tubes, and it's just lower noise. I think it's better speakers, or you can put better speakers through it. But the Champ should be a combo, and hopefully, they put something out. I believe the original Champ was a 6-inch speaker, which is smaller.
That's what I wish Gibson would get back into doing, was producing their weird kind of like
Little amps.
those weird little amps and those 210s that they did, and those amps were really cool and they were really punchy, and like their 8-inch one and their off-center speaker stuff, and there was a lot of cool stuff that they did back in
I don't know too much about
definitely.
that, but hopefully Fender really hits it home. Because if I already got a Valve Junior head, but if it's affordable and like I try it out and it sounds okay, I'm probably gonna get one.
Well, here's my professional studio opinion about you can never have too many small amps if you're recording.
Amen.
True.
Amen.
And when they're producing them at such like if it is in fact below $300, that's affordable enough for most home studios to afford.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's great.
And anybody, like any guitarist who records at home, either
there's-
a Valve Junior would be great, but this would be better.